Hello and welcome to another episode of High Voltage. I'm your host, I'm Mackenzie Nelson, and I am here again hoping to bring you some fresh infusion into your life to keep you energized and always accessing the present moment, ready for what comes at you, positioned fully to take advantage of the opportunities God is bringing to your life. You can really plug in when you're living with intention and acknowledging that the present moment is where all the possibilities lie. So if you missed it yesterday, shake it off, girl. Today is a new day. Today is full of fresh opportunities for you to connect with and enjoy your life. You only get one, so why not live it fully? Fully charged, fully engaged, fully present, and ready with your yes to whatever life has to offer you. This week, I want to talk about a topic that has been reverberating in my mind for over the course of the last month or so. My son, Lincoln, who is 11, is a math wizard. He was gifted with a powerful ability to multiply, divide, add, subtract, and so much knowledge in his mind. He can compute things like that. You give him numbers to add, even really high numbers to add, and he will always come up with the answer, which I marvel at because, in high school and in grade school, I really struggled with math. It kind of bored me. I really never got what the whole concept was with math. What's so fun about this? Why do people like this, that like it? I don't get it. Anyway, so I'm going through the motions again with my son who's having math homework, and he knows, he's like, oh, I better ask Dad. But through his passion for math, he's quizzing us, right? He's like, what's this number divided by this number? What's this number multiplied by this number? And I'm like, Lincoln, buddy, I don't know what to tell you. You're smarter than me in this topic. But as I'm listening to him bring all these mathematical equations to my mind, one Bible verse in particular is popping out at me. And it is Genesis 1:28. Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth. And yes, God wants us to be fruitful and multiply. I don't know how many of you have watched the show The Handmaid's Tale. And in this show, religious minds take over the whole United States to where it's no longer a free place to live and exist. And they make women against their will who are able to give birth because they're having a population crisis. In this show, The Handmaid's Tale, they force them to give birth to children for other people's benefit, and then they have to give their child up. And every time someone addresses a handmaid, she's to say, "Blessed be the fruit." So I'm watching this show, I'm thinking about multiplication, and suddenly it dawns on me, God has really spoken to us about multiplying in terms of that's how we are to position ourselves in life, in abundance, in a place where we are encouraging others, right? Where we're being generous with our hearts. And when we're generous, meeting people in love, and our heart is aligned with God and our purpose, we get to watch. We are the stone that falls and makes the ripple in the lake, right? Well, when you fall and you make the ripple, you meet someone else, and then all of a sudden they're making a ripple, and it just keeps multiplying. When you show love and kindness to people in an unexpected way, when you're just looking to meet people in love with where they're at, you're not looking to tell them how their living's wrong, or you're not looking to recruit them to come to your church. That should never be your number one motive for going outside of your social circle to speak to someone else. You should never have that thought in your mind that you are talking to people so you can take them to another place and have someone else speak to them about the gospel. When we start to look at how we have the ability to multiply, when we speak out, when we share our testimonies with people, when we say, I am going to take this up and I'm going to talk to people about what God's done in my life, then they can get excited. They know you. They don't know the whole community of your church. They don't know the pastor. But if you can lead by example with your own testimony, do you know why you follow Jesus and why you're walking with him? What is your testimony? If you are someone who's constantly relying on the, hey, when God comes up, I just say, come to my church, so I don't have to really speak in depth about my experience. I don't have to get vulnerable. That's on the pastor. When we start taking that up and sharing from our heart with people, sharing our testimony, sharing our love, more than that, so they see and they feel loved and cared for, that sentiment is multiplied. When you love someone well and you care for them, they're going to take that feeling and they're going to love someone else well because they just felt that from you. And now love is overflowing and abundant and it's being multiplied, right? So today's episode is all about, do you use multiplication or division in your life? And how is that working for you? And another verse that's great that I love, and we can parlay into division next, is, and Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Matthew 12:25. So what's Jesus saying here, right? When we're looking at the world through a divide and conquer state of mind, because that's a war theme that has been utilized. Why? Because we know that when we divide people, they're not as strong. They have a harder time standing united. So when you divide, then you can conquer. You can grab the power for yourself and you can overthrow anything through division. And I know for me, the way I was raised and what I was taught, you're either in a household where your parents are promoting multiplication, abundance, overflow, acceptance, and out of multiplication comes a love that is overwhelming, overpowering, unconditional love. Are the parents who have used multiplication tactics with their children. And then those children know they feel abundantly loved and worthy and known because their parents did a great job letting them know that no matter what, they would never leave their child for no reason. There's nothing my child could do that I would walk away from you for. I will love you no matter what. Now, I like to tell my kids the like is optional. I will always love you. But on days where you're being disrespectful, I'm not going to like that treatment. And we're going to have a talk about what's going on with you and in your life that you're treating me in this manner. But my children know no matter what, they can count on my love unconditionally. No matter what they do, there is nothing, no reason that I would ever, as the mother, stop pursuing my children. In my home growing up, my mother often spoke poorly of my father to me and my siblings. Every time he left for work, there was an agenda on her plate to speak ill of him to us. So we knew we couldn't trust our father. We knew that, he was always hurting our mom, and he was trifling, and he was this and he was that. We were not to trust him. So we learned from an early age all about division. How to stand in opposition to a family member in our home. So my mom stood by that chalkboard every day and she taught us how to divide. And it's gotten to the point with my family where we're now so divided, there's not much more to be separated. 40 years down the road, I'm 41. None of us siblings are in communication really. And that is the saddest thing I can say about when a mother takes the power she has and uses it to teach her children how to divide and conquer. It is a very terrible place to put your kids in, and never knowing who to trust, never knowing, if what she's saying is true. Is it not? Is it true? Always wondering, leaving you feeling vulnerable and open to further manipulation by her and other family members. Her mom taught her division. There were 4 girls in my mother's family, and none of them could stand united because they were being raised by a mother who thrived on using division to overtake, overpower, and control her daughters for her own nefarious purposes. And this is handed down. It's like a blueprint. So the odds are, if you've been handed a blueprint for division and how to live your life, then you've got to re-examine the blueprints you were given. Because if you're still passing down what your parents taught you, and you were taught to divide and conquer, and now you're just going into arenas with friendships, at work, any relationship in your family, and you're constantly looking to see how you can use the information someone presents you to manipulate someone else, so you're always the one that's controlling the narrative. That is divisive when you are not living your life from a place of multiplication and truth, and watching that go out into the world and be returned to you in abundance, because I'm telling you, karma is real. And I know when I walk in truth, abundance, and a multiplication mindset, where I am looking to unite and build and multiply my family, my friends, my workplace. I'm looking to multiply goodness. And that is my intent, and that is how I'm positioned. I can expect that to come back to me. But like a boomerang, if you are teaching your children how to be divisive and showing them that's how to take control, when the truth comes back around to you, you double down and you deny it. You deny. You never face the truth. You never really look at yourself in the mirror, because at the core of you, you know something is amiss. And just because you were handed these blueprints and said, this is how to live your life, understand and recognize that you have a choice. You do not have to live your life the way you were taught by your parents anymore. But it really takes recognizing these patterns. It takes understanding what you were handed. What math book were you handed? Division, subtraction, or were you handed multiplication and addition? I tell you, this has given me a new passion for math and for the scriptures, where of course God's talking, go out and multiply, make babies, but he's also talking about what our stance should be in life. And we should always be looking to add to lives, to multiply the goodness, to point out the good qualities in those that we see. Why not take the time this week, when you see a friend who's all dressed up and looking beautiful, to let her know, hey, you look amazing. This is something I strive to do in all of my friendships. I look always for the opportunities to build others up instead of tear them down. It is so much easier to spot where someone else isn't aligning with something or where they're messing up. But when we focus on that, we're living in a division mindset, a divisive mindset. When we're focusing on the negative, right? We're in subtraction. And when you come on over to addition, you realize you can be an added blessing in so many lives when you are faithful to bring the good news, that you're focusing on showing this person how much you love them, regardless of any shortcomings. You're always looking for the positive. You're looking to multiply. You're looking at life in a state of abundance, of having more than enough. Not, hey, I'm not grateful, right? And that's really tied in to gratitude. And if you're not starting your day every day looking at the things God has blessed you with, whether that's your children, great friends, an amazing husband, a good job where you're putting food on the table and able to provide for your family, you're missing it. You're missing it, friend. You can, and you get to choose your perspective and your mindset. You get to be grateful. You get to focus on the things you have. It is the negative things in life that tend to scream louder at us than the positives. But when you are purposefully intentioned to focus on your blessings and you're focused on abundance and being grateful for the things you already have, well, then you're just going to see that multiply. How can it not? When you are so grateful, people want to be around you. They're attracted to you, to your positivity, to what you're bringing into that room. You're a force to be reckoned with, but not because they fear you, because they love you. Divide and conquer is a fear-based mentality, while multiplication and abundance is a love-based mentality. And when you're full of love and you're extending that love, people feel it and they want in. They want to know you. They want to be around you. They want to get involved in the things you're involved in. So think about it, guys. I challenge you to write down this week, if you have your notebook and a pen handy, write down, look at the blueprints of how you were raised. Were you raised with parents who taught you how to divide and conquer? Were you afraid? Or were you raised with parents who handed you multiplication, abundance, love in full? Either way, focus the next time you're around someone on really building them up and letting them know, because life is so short, you just never know what could happen. Remind them of how much they mean to you and how much they bring to your life and how much you value them. Let them know. Don't be afraid to speak out and start watching your life overflow with the multiplication of abundance. You guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a great weekend. Again, thank you for tuning in. It means so much to me. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know that you're feeling my content, guys. I really appreciate any feedback you have. I'll catch you next time. Have a great weekend.